This puppy's owners were set on putting him down, but how this woman stepped in will make you cry. This little puppy's owners didn't think they had a choice. After all, the dog's health problems meant that it was unlikely he would survive for more than 2 weeks, so euthanization seemed like the kindest option. You see, Whitney works at the VCA Veterinary Care Animal Hospital and Referral Center in Albuquerque, New Mexico. On my 30th birthday, a chocolate lab had a C-section at my veterinary clinic and had 9 puppies, Whitney wrote. A cleft palate is a congenital condition that's not surprising to encounter in purebreds like Labradors, as it has an occurrence rate of approximately 25%. Unfortunately, though, the cavity between the nose and mouth can cause a multitude of breathing problems, including coughing and sneezing. So without surgery and then around-the-clock care, the chances of this baby dog's survival were poor. After all, a cleft palate can often lead to difficulty nursing and a lowered immune system, potentially making this otherwise weak pup even weaker. It is a blessing to be able to provide humane euthanasia to puppies with cleft palates, Whitney wrote on Imgur. Depending on the severity of the cleft and if it affects the hard or soft palate, puppies usually do not thrive. Whitney added the space in the roof of their mouth does not allow them to suckle properly, and they eventually die of starvation. But the vets where Whitney works were armed with this knowledge, and it seems that they were determined to intervene. Firstly, Whitney was able to satisfy the little pup's suckling instincts by giving him a binky comforter. Then, as his new mommy saw a fighter in him, Whitney gave the dog an appropriate name. Whitney also became an attentive mother to this little chocolate bean, bringing Bronson with her to the clinic in order to maintain his feeding schedule. After all, the disabled pooch took his food every 2 hours by either tube or syringe. And as Bronson grew, he ditched the binky in exchange for suckling on Whitney's fingers. Whitney later described this activity as a true bonding experience. His mommy further had to play with him lots in order to keep him active because his cleft palate meant that he couldn't have chew toys. But what did Whitney's colleagues think? Bronson's cleft palate was a particularly bad one. It extended from his hard all the way to his soft palate, Whitney wrote. The surgeon also kept tabs on Bronson's cleft palate to decide when the best time for the surgery was. Still, the little Labrador got into all kinds of mischief. In fact, Whitney was no match for the quick puppy, as he loved to put whatever he could in his mouth. Mind you, this obsession might have had something to do with him moving from his milk feeds to blended food. As he grew, it became a trial and error session of coming up with the perfect concoction of canned food that would go through the red tube easily, Whitney wrote. What's more, as Bronson's cleft palate became larger with age, it became more of a problem keeping things out of the inquisitive dog's mouth. I always had my hands in his mouth, pulling everything out. In fact, Bronson had been sedated 3 times to remove objects stuck in his cleft, and Whitney was now preparing to switch him to solid foods. Needless to say then, Bronson's mommy was getting anxious for his corrective surgery. In the end, Bronson's surgery day came when he was nearly a year old. This was almost an end to him being a sheltered, highly energetic lab with sinus infections and bloody sneezing. So on Whitney's 31st birthday, it was surgery time for the chocolate bean, and his mommy was beside him for the operation. The surgeon explained to me that he was literally going to lift the skin from the right side, flip it to the left, tuck it, and suture it, and it was much more complex than that, she wrote. Still, the plucky little pooch was a fighter, like his namesake, and he came through the operation with flying colors. In fact, the surgery may have been harder on Whitney as she anxiously awaited to see if the procedure would take. Indeed, the now 3-year-old lab has a new lease on life, and his mom couldn't be happier. He's able to play with toys, chew on rawhides, swim in lakes, go on walks, bring me sticks, basically live the rest of his life as a perfectly normal lab, she concluded. I love my dogs.
Animal lover? Subscribe to our channel for all the latest in pet care and animal rescue. You can also visit our store, where you'll find cheeky merch for cats and dog lovers, including fun and original t-shirt designs and many other accessories you will love. Our earnings will help support and rescue animals in need and make a difference in their welfare. For more information, visit www.pawsfashion.store. Thank you for being a part of our growing community and for caring about animals and their lives, especially at a time where they need you the most.